Yes, so it's recording. So she talked about belief in team, and I just really, because that's kind of like, when I knew that I loved this company, but what I loved so much was the community. And I know I reiterate this all the time, but the community to me was so key because I really wanted to be a part of something, and that is something that's just stuck with me about team and belief in team, believing in one another, and believing that through this community that we can do amazing things together. We can reach amazing goals for our team, and we can help each other do that. And so anyway, thank you for being on. That was my whole purpose for saying that. Okay, so tonight we have such a special guest, and I was saying to her before we started recording is that I came across a team call she was doing for her team with Bree Holland, and I was perusing YouTube for ideas, and I came across this video that Colleen was doing, and I was like, oh my gosh, the content was so good. She was so engaging. She spoke from her heart. She shared her journey, and I was like, I was engaged, and so I thought she'd be so good for us, especially since she's a newer coach, really, in the big scheme of things, and she's a mama to 2 toddlers. If I freeze up, I'm so sorry, guys. Just bear with me. She's a mama to 2 young children already. She's 1 on the way. I think she's 33 weeks pregnant. 32. Almost 33 weeks. She's shared that she has a baby, and she shared a baby in heaven. And baby in heaven. She's been married to her dream guy for 5 years. Baby number 3 is due. Baby number 4, but she's due in July. Her team is the Lean Nation, which is such a cool use of your name, Colleen, Lean Nation, and is made up of 10 amazing women and growing every day. She's been coaching for a little over a year and reached Diamond on her 1-year anniversary. She fell in love with the business and runs with it with her heart and soul, and she's thankful for the opportunity to coach and can't wait to see what happens in the next, get this, 10 years. She's in it for like a big picture. She's in it for forever. For the next 10 years, it's going to be amazing what will happen, sweetie. But she's from Allentown, Pennsylvania, and comes from a very small town in Illinois. So what I'm going to do is, just because everybody's popping on now, I'm just going to go ahead, Colleen, and I'm going to let you start. I do want to congratulate everybody who hit Success Club in April. It was a great turnout for you guys. In May, let's just keep going, and we'll talk more about that in our team chats. But I'm getting some really great content from the group I'm a part of with Carl Deichler called I'm Here to Help. And there's so many things we could implement, almost too many to think in my head. But it's going to be a really fun few months coming up to Summit. So I'm so excited. All right, so I'm going to let Colleen go. And what I'll do is I'll mute myself. Do you just want to stay in gallery mode? Is that okay for you, Colleen, just like this?
Sure. Yeah, that's great.
And I'm going to mute everybody, and I'm going to let her just go with it. So if you have a pen and paper to take notes, please do. And I'm going to record this. It is recording. So I'm going to mute us all, and you just go, girlfriend. And I'm so glad to have you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all the kind words. And I'm honored to be here speaking. And like Mona said, thank you all for jumping on. I never take that for granted. I know how important time is to everyone. I want to talk just a little bit about my story, but I want to talk more about my business because I know that can kind of help you guys more. Just so you know, I am from a really small town in Illinois of 500 people. I was homeschooled my entire life, so I'm kind of like a nothing from nowhere who never even dreamed that I would have an opportunity like this. So I got into coaching after I had my second daughter. I struggled a little bit with postpartum depression. I wasn't medicated or anything like that, but I had a really hard time adjusting being to a mom, and I came out of the workforce, and my husband was working crazy hours. And my upline, Bree Holland, we go way back. And before we had reconnected, she was had a really terrible lifestyle with drugs and alcohol and all this stuff. So she had reached out to me about 2 years before about joining a challenge group, and I was like, oh my gosh, you're crazy. I would never do that. I thought she was crazy for posting workout videos. I totally judged all of her form and what she was doing and all this stuff. So fast forward 2 years later, I had my second baby, and I was like really wanting a change, not only for my health and fitness, my mental capacity. I wanted to help my family out financially, but I didn't want to go back to work and leave my kids. And so someone else had actually invited me to the opportunity, and I had no idea what the possibilities could be for Beachbody. I had done some of the programs like P90X, never tried Shakeology, was totally kind of against it just because I was like a clean eater and didn't want to substitute and all that stuff. And so when I started researching it, and I was like, wow, this could be a huge thing. And I have always been somebody who's like, I think especially since I was homeschooled, I like to teach myself, and like the sky's the limit. So then it clicked like, oh, that's what she was inviting me to. I'm going to go stalk her on Facebook, because I had hit her realistically because I was sitting on the couch eating Oreos and pizza, and every time her workouts came across my screen, I was like, no, that's not happening. So I went and I stalked her out, and I was like, she had made a serious lifestyle change. Like, it was more than just making money. You could tell that she had actually changed. I reached out to her, and then I ended up joining her team. So what I wanted to talk about was how I built my business. I built it a little bit different than, everyone is so different and their timeline is so different, but a few of the core things for my business, that's what I want to talk to you guys about tonight. So I have built my business from day one. When I finally decided to join, I was like, okay, number one, my biggest belief is heart and hustle. So I'm all about helping people. And when I joined, I wanted to help myself with my mental and physical state. I didn't want to be this stay-at-home mom who got out of breath from carrying laundry up the stairs and was miserable all the time. And my husband was coming home to me in stained shirts and pajamas. And I wanted to help my family financially. But a deeper purpose for me was that I really wanted to help people get healthy and fit. And a lot of that goes back, I could talk about my whys for hours, but that would be a whole nother call. But my mom's health struggles really badly. And I have 5 siblings. She homeschooled us, and she totally gave us everything, but she never took care of herself. So she got to a point where she was hospitalized a lot. Her back was so bad that she couldn't walk. She could barely walk. She couldn't clean her house, and it would keep me up at night. Seeing that was destroying me. And so I tried to help her, and I couldn't because there was really nothing I could do. And then I realized that I couldn't change her, and it's just like the quote, what does it say? Yesterday I was foolish and I wanted to change the world, but today I'm wise, so I'm changing myself. And that was like, it clicked. Like, I cannot help her. I cannot get her better, but I can change myself and lead a better future for my kids. So when I joined, I was like, okay, I honestly didn't believe I could actually make money. Like, I did all the stories. I researched everyone. Like, I thought that it was legit, and I hoped it was, but I just couldn't really see how it could actually be a business. So my thought was, if I can get, at first I said 6 months, if I can get super fit, because I want to look good for my husband, even though he doesn't even care. He's like, you look great no matter what. He's so sweet. But I wanted to get fit for my husband, and I just wanted to help one other person along the way. That was my goal. So, but I was like, I'm going to give it my all for 6 months, because if there's a possibility to make this a business, I'm going to make it happen. So I started right off the gate. Honestly, I had been researching Shakeology because a couple people told me about it, but I was really not sold on Shakeology, and I'm just really upfront about that, because you have to, eventually you'll struggle with that. If you're not sold on Shakeology right now, like, eventually you'll be like, is this a real thing? That's what I did for a long time. So I got the program, I got 21 Day Fix, and like, I started really, hard. I was working out like crazy. I was inviting like crazy. I had no idea what I was saying. I sent terrible invites. I invited coaches in the absolute worst way, but I was doing it. Like, the 3 vitals, I started the next day that I signed. Okay. So I ended up selling enough to pay for my challenge pack in 3 weeks. And then I was like, that gave me a little bit of belief. So one thing that I really believe in is setting short-term goals, but also long-term goals. So for me, I couldn't even think of like this being a part-time business. I was like, okay, I have to pay for my challenge pack because, and a whole nother story is I actually signed, my husband, the nature of his job is he gets laid off like from time to time. And I actually signed while he was laid off. I don't even tell a lot of people this, but I put it on a credit card because I talked him into it, and he has been my biggest supporter and believed in me. So I was like, okay, I have to pay off my challenge back. And then once I did that, I'm like, okay, I have to pay for my Shakeology. So I'd set little goals that weren't overwhelming. And then even my upline would be like, okay, you should hit Emerald. And I'm like, no way. There's no way I could do that, And then that all just started to take place because I was doing the 3 vitals every single day. So the main thing that I have built my business on is faith, because anyone who follows me knows that that's a big part of my brand. Like I believe, I'm an outspoken Christian, and if I don't share that, it's like not part of my journey. So my faith has been a huge part of it, as well as just being real. Like when I started, I was like, I'm going to share my journey. If people like me, great. And if they don't, that's fine. But I just don't really, like, if you're not going to be real, then like, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, this is not even worth my time. So, and that's like, no matter what you believe in, like, this is not customized to a certain belief. It's really not. But or like, you have to be able to do this business believing something will happen without seeing it, or you will never last. If the beginning of every single month, I go into it and I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I don't hit Success Club this month? I don't know why. At the beginning of every month, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to hit Success Club this month. And then all of a sudden I'm like, no, I just have to do the 3 vital behaviors. I just have to trust that if I do those things, it's going to happen. So getting caught up in like seeing like, I want this person to sign up, it will just drive you crazy. Even right now, I'm talking to like 7 different people that are about to sign, and none of them will get back to me. And I'm just like, why aren't these people signing? And then some random person from 3 months ago comes up and signs that I wasn't even talking to. So when you're doing those 3 vitals, don't get so caught up on your follow-ups and who you're talking to. Like, it's important to track those. But at the end of the day, all you can do is what you're supposed to be doing, and then let whatever happens come out of that. The right people will come to you. You just have to be consistent. And then the other thing that this was a huge, huge shift in my business. I had a really hard time tracking. So I just got really, at first I was just putting it in the notes on my phone. Then I started a spreadsheet. And then it just started to get really overwhelming. So the first couple months I hit like Success Club 5, 8, 10, 12. And I was like, first of all, like, this is kind of a 2-part. First of all, when I would hit those numbers, I'd always go on cruise control then. And I'd be like, okay, I'm good. Like, I hit Success Club 5 by the 5th. I'm good for the rest of the month. I'll just play around and make banners or think of some cool posts or whatever. But really that was damaging my business that I didn't know long term. And it took me a lot longer to reach my goals because of that. Now, looking back, I learned so much from it that I'm like, okay, that's okay. But that's one thing I can tell you now. I hit Success Club 28 last month and 8, I think, for my husband. And that is because under his account. So that is because now I act every single day like it's the last day of the month and I haven't hit Success Club. And that has changed my business. But also the paradigm shift for me was I recognized, sorry, I'm going back a little bit. After, I think it was month 6 or 7, I missed Success Club. Now, excuses, everyone has them. We moved. We ended up, because I started this journey and personal development and changing, it just kind of put a whole new spin on our lives. I mean, most of you know how that is. Once you start doing personal development, you start seeing, like, the first book I read was The Compound Effect, and I read it through 5 times. I listened to it through Audible 5 times because I was like, oh my gosh, this is changing my life. So then I started noticing things like, okay, we need to get on top of our finances, and I talked to my husband about it, and it was like so much more than just Beachbody. But we decided that it would be best to sell our house for a lot of different reasons. But in month 6 or 7, we sold our house. I had I have 2 kids that are 3 and 1.5. And my brother was getting married, and we had family in town. So all these things happened, and I missed Success Club. And I was devastated because I thought I was a rock star before then. But it really was the best thing that happened, because it made me reevaluate, like, what am I doing wrong? Like, my first reaction was, oh, this business doesn't work. Then my second reaction was, oh, the challenge packs are too expensive. Then then I was reading GoPro. And he was saying, like, if somebody in your company is making a lot of money, it's not the compensation plan or the company's fault, it's you. So then I'm looking at the leadership board and all these people. I mean, Bree, she hits crazy Success Club numbers every single month with her husband's account. So I'm like, I seriously was like, is she lying about these numbers? Like, I literally can't even sell 3 challenge packs, and she's saying she sold this many. Like, there's something wrong with me. There's something I'm doing wrong. So I started diving into. So I started researching, like YouTubing, how to talk to people, like invites, power hour, like getting down to the nitty gritty. What the top coaches, what are they saying to people? What are they doing? Like, are they just copying scripts and pasting them? That was one thing. The second thing was I was not tracking properly. I would go back around to my notes, and I remember this was when I was like, okay, this is the problem. I went and I messaged someone, and I looked in our past messages, and she was interested, and I never got back to her. And then I went back and asked her to join again, and she said, oh, you know what? I actually just ended up getting a personal trainer. And I was like, whoa, my personal trainer is expensive. She would have gone in my challenge group if I would have gotten back to her. So I recommend this to everyone because it works for me. TeamZ will change your business. I was like, that's it. I'm doing something. It's not worth my time to send out all these invites and not follow up. Excuse me. So it's a 30-day trial, free trial to TeamZ, TEAMZY.com. They have tons of tutorials on how to upload your contacts. If you invest your time, your first month is free. I've paid for it with the challenge packs I've sold every single month. So after that, I think it's $30 a month. But like I said, like, I haven't even noticed that cost because I've sold so much more. And it is because of that program. So you don't have to use that program, obviously. I recommend it to my entire team. Like, I really push that program because it changed. I saw so much difference in my business. But for me, the keeping track and following up was a huge issue, and it will kill your business. The fortune is in the follow-up. You're going to bed. I love you. Fortune is in the follow-up. They say that, or, you know, all those quotes. It's so true. So that was one thing that was a huge shift for me. The other thing I wanted to talk about, does anyone have any questions so far?
Well, sorry. We'll go ahead, and after you're done, we'll just collect them. I'm writing things down now because I'm okay. It's turned on the TV, so I'm gonna fix this while you're talking. I don't know.
Okay, no problem. The next thing I wanted to talk about was building your team. That was something that I struggled with, and like I said, it took me a year to go diamond, and that's kind of long compared to a lot of people. But looking back, I don't regret that. I know if I would have, a lot of it had to do with self-doubt, and a lot of it had to do with fear. And a lot of it, honestly, I had a really hard time with Shakeology and the whole MLM thing. It was all just like, I didn't really know if I believed in it. I didn't know if it was actually going to work. So I had a hard time inviting coaches to something that I didn't really believe in. All of that came across in my messaging. Okay. So first what I did was I'm like, okay, is this Shakeology thing really as good as they say? So I started doing tests, like being consistent with it and then not drinking it for like a whole week. And I would do stuff like, and I researched, I'd spend hours at night. My husband works a lot. So I remember one night I spent like 6 hours researching Shakeology, researching the ingredients. So I challenge you, and I challenge all of my coaches to not just be like, oh yeah, this is a great product just because you want to sell it and just because everyone else is saying it, but really do your research, because all of that will actually come out in your messaging. I seriously believe in like what's in the written in between the lines in your messaging. So if you don't believe in the product or the programs or coaching, it's all going to come across. And that's a lot of the reason why I had such a hard time getting where I was. So first, I started doing serious research on Shakeology. I knew I loved the programs, but I wasn't sure. I started trying different recipes to try stuff that I really loved. It took me a while to really love it. Now, after all that research, I seriously am a I believe in it more than I ever have. And I've seen actual really good health benefits for myself. And because of that, I know that I've been able to talk to people more confidently about it. And since I actually believe in it. So that's one. The other thing is actually coaching. For a long time, I was scared. I was like, okay, people are going to want me to join their team. I'm inviting them to join my team, and I literally have 2 coaches. Like, I don't know what to do. I want to hit diamond. So then I took a step back and I started reading some books about it and all this stuff. So that's another thing that comes down to personal development is anytime I identify something that I'm struggling in this area, it's like all systems a go on tackling that area. So get books and even YouTube. Like seriously, I spend hours on YouTube from top coaches. Like not that you don't need your upline. Your upline's great, but sometimes she may not even have exactly what you need or hasn't made exactly what you need. There are so many top coaches that have videos on everything. So I always tell my coaches, I'm like, I mean, we're just one people. We can't give you your full realm of everything you need to know. So, and I tell all of my coaches when they're struggling, I'm like, your homework is to go and set a timer for 30 or 45 minutes, research that topic on YouTube for that much time, and then come back to me with questions. Because you doing that yourself is going to get you the absolute best results that you can, and you're going to learn so much more. Okay. So then I started watching, videos on that. Where is it going? Sorry, sometimes I lose my train of thought. Oh, coaching. So that's when I was like, once I started getting challengers and actually making money and my challengers were seeing results, then I became a believer in that and Shakeology in the program. So I was good there. I could sell challenge packs like crazy. I was hitting Success Club like crazy. I get a few coaches though, and it was just like they had no desire to coach. Like in the beginning, they tell me this story like, yeah, I'm going to coach. I'm going to bring my husband home. I want to stay home with my kids. And then it's like a week later, they're like returning their challenge pack. And I'm like, what's happening right now? So then I started really focusing in on my challenge groups. Like actually not just posting like Flex Friday, but I would have I try to still do it at least once a challenge, a live video where I tell them like on Thursday mornings, I'd say, okay, tonight at 6 p.m. I'm going to live to ask any questions for you. And you don't have to know everything. That was something I was scared about. I'm like, I'm not a nutritionist. Like, I don't know. But since when you're working on yourself, like you actually do start to acquire a lot of knowledge, and you'll be surprised how many questions you can answer that you didn't think that you could. So I started really pouring into my challengers, I still give so much free stuff away, gift cards and personal development books and water bottles and little things like that to keep the challenge interesting. That's when I started getting coaches. That's when I started having people that bought challenge packs back in September that never even participated in the challenge, that now is she just signed as a coach. She's lost 16 pounds. She's super motivated. And I'm like, if I hadn't invested in them, like it's not like you sell a challenge pack and you're done. Or you sell a challenge pack and you stick them in a group and post a few times about, your shake. So really start to, for me, and I know everybody's different. So for me, I started getting really good coaches when I started investing in my challenge groups. So then I started reaching out to my challengers a lot more and being consistent with that. And then like my rock star coach now, she was in my challenge group for like 4 months, and she would post occasionally, but I was just like, I started reaching out to her and I really felt like we had a connection. She has 2 kids my age, and she's actually my kid's age, and she's actually due the day after I'm due with her 3rd baby as well. Like, it's crazy. The whole vibe attracts your tribe thing is like, it's insane how true it is. So I reached out to her and I was just like, hey, have you ever thought about coaching? And she was like, yeah, I have been thinking about it, but I don't know. So we did a call, and then she's like, I'm going to talk to my husband. I'm like, okay. I didn't hear from her for 3 weeks. We scheduled a call for her 3 weeks after that because they were on a trip. She called me. We did that call 3 weeks later. She signed, and her first month, she hit like Success Club 20, I think. And now for May, she's at 10. And it's the 11th. She's beating me. I have 4 Success Club points and she's at 10. And I'm like, what a rock star. But I wouldn't have found her if I was just like so focused on getting a coach. You know what I mean? Like pushing her into it. So now she's in a push. She's Emerald. She's pushing the Diamond. She's only been coaching 3 months, I think. But to me, that's how I started getting coaches. Then it was just like Shakeology. Once I started building up that confidence, then I'm like, okay, first of all, this really has been a blessing for me. The money has helped my family out. But even more than that, like I have completely changed. I've grown more as a person in the last year than I had in 5 years probably, just through personal development. If that's all I got out of this journey, I would have been happy from that. But then I started building confidence with getting coaches. So I'm like, okay, it's just like Shakeology. I need to research how to get coaches. So I started getting books on it. And now I will share it with you, Mona. I actually made a presentation. It's like a PowerPoint. I actually use Canva because Canva is like super easy for me to use. But I did my own presentation, which I never had this before. Like when I talked about coaching, I'd be like, talk to people about coaching and then stick them in a sneak peek and then like follow up a few times. And it was going nowhere fast. Now, and I know this will evolve over time, I am wanting to start some like sneak peek groups, and I'll stick some people in sneak peeks. But I have a presentation that I made. It took me a couple days, like I set time aside, and I researched like, what is coaching to me? I didn't copy and paste anything from anyone. Like I didn't even really look at anyone's presentation. I was like, what is coaching to me? And I compiled that in a presentation and I saved it to my desktop. And I was like, I don't know, like this is my heart on a page. And there's a whole thing in there that says, coaching is not for you if. And it's like, if you think this is get rich quick, because that's not going to happen. If you're not willing to dedicate a minimum of a year, because that's what it takes to actually see results. Like for me, I made money right out the bat. I always paid for my Shakeology, and I was always able to generate some sort of income to keep me motivated. But on my 1 year anniversary, when I hit Diamond, my business exploded. Like I can barely keep up with it now. I'm running my husband's business and it's just getting more and more fun. And everyone says Diamond is like the beginning. And it's so true. For me, it was so true. So I made that presentation and I was really real. And even when I'm like, it's not for you if you're not willing to dedicate a year, you think it's going to get rich quick. And I have it just laid out. I'm like, it is for you if you can see the big picture. If you're willing to help people, if you're motivated, if you actually want to change and know that the change begins with you, okay? So, and then once I made that presentation, the first person I sent it to, they're like, oh my gosh, I've been researching Beachbody coaching and could not get anything like solid. And this is like, they loved it. Everyone I've shared that with, not everyone, because I've shared it quite a bit now, most of the people who are actually interested, they always say, oh my gosh, that presentation was great. And I'm like, awesome. I have pictures of me and my family. I have cute verbiage. Like it's totally me on a presentation. So all of that to say, it's just like Shakeology. It's just like challenge groups. like until you actually believe in what you're doing, it's just going to be a sales pitch and you're going to get frustrated and people are going to get frustrated. And even like Mona said, another thing I was like, in the beginning, everyone talked about like, oh, the culture of the team. I love that. Like, I love having these girl BFFs. At first, I struggle with that. I've always been a super tomboy. Like, my only friend, like close friend, is my husband. We do everything together. Like, so for me, I'm like, I don't need girlfriends. Like in college, I was always standoffish. But so when I started, everyone kept talking about that. And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't really get involved in my team for a while. But then all of a sudden, I was like, wow, like Bree is actually a friend. Like she has been so supportive. And then it was like other girls on her team. And then I started getting coaches under me that would like come to me for things outside of Beachbody. And then I started to believe in like, you know what? This is really powerful. Like girl bosses are really neat. I need that. You know what I mean? So all of that to say, all those things, like until you actually start experiencing it for yourself and start living it yourself and start like believing it, it's going to be a lot harder because you can't fake it. Like no matter what you're saying or posting or doing, like there's something about social media and all these people that they can see how authentic you are. I hope that all makes sense. Do we have a time limit here? I don't want to like keep you all. I don't know. Do you have anything else? That's kind of like my story and like my business wrapped up in a nutshell. Sorry if it was all over the place too. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me? You can? I'm like talking. Oh no. No, that was fantastic. That's exactly what I wanted to hear because it was what you really shared with your team with Bree about just your story and, you know, how you just kind of weren't a believer in the beginning and how that was hard for you. And I just wrote down what you said because I really liked it about experience. Oh, I might be frozen. Yeah, because my computer's crazy. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, you can now? Okay. So I'll just keep talking even if I'm frozen and no one else can. Okay. Experience it. You have to experience it. You have to live it. And that is so true. And, you know, I went and looked at your Facebook page because we were friends. And so I went and looked and I was like, oh my gosh, just how you post your life. And I think that, you know, when it comes down to it, we have to show it is social media. We are sharing our journey and it is what it is. We have to show up and be there. And then when we have to show us experiencing life through the eyes of coaching. Does that make sense? Do you agree with that?
Yes, totally.
Like, I mean, whatever coaching is to you, right? And or whatever coaching is to me or Susan or whomever, right? So you got to experience and live it through your eyes and do it in a way that is authentic to you. So I love that. I love that it's what you said there. What was I going to say about? Okay, so you grew a team. You started growing your team because, and I also saw your call to action on those, and they're really good. I love them. I love what you shared. Guys, go definitely, anytime we have a speaker or I've been part of a group that has a speaker, I always go and I check them out on their Facebook.
I do the same.
Because you learn something, right? You learn something from someone. She does a lot of Facebook Lives. She does a lot of videos, and they're really good. It's usually her and her kids that are hanging out there together, but Colleen's kids. So something that I said. So you started growing a team. How did you eventually, since you were learning and you're a researcher and you like information, and I have so many friends that that were homeschooled and they are the same way, just researchers, and I love that attitude. How did you end up helping your coaches achieve success? Like, what did you do to help them achieve success?
Like, to break it down, like, one super easy thing, honestly, by nature, I tend to be optimistic and very encouraging. It's just, that's always been who I am, even before coaching. So if you struggle with that, that's something that means a lot to a lot of people. And I realized that when they started implementing the 4 vital behavior, like recognizing people. So first I was like, honestly, I kind of tend to have a bad attitude about things right off the bat. Like new things, I'm like, no, this is not okay. Because I have to, like you said, Mona, research it and kind of believe it on my own before I actually just take it for granted. I do that with everything. I've always been that way. So first they're like, you got to recognize people. So I'm like, great. Now I'm forced to tell people they're doing a good job. That's so lame. And it's not going to come off authentic. But then I was like, okay, Bree would recognize me. And no matter what her motive was, it didn't really matter. It made me feel really good that somebody cared and saw what I was doing and said that I did a good job. And I was like, you know what? Like, Beachbody is not crazy. They know what they're doing. They're right. It's not about just checking it off my list. It's about, and now throughout the week, on Saturdays, I always recognize a challenger and a coach. And I go throughout the week and I notice posts, like it's not like they're on my to-do list. Like it is on my to-do list because I think it's important. But it's not like it's like alphabetized. Like, oh, today I have to recognize Mona because she's on the list. It's like when I see challengers that are working their butts off, aside from working a busy job and having kids, and I know how hard that is, I'm like, man, that girl needs recognition. And same thing with my coaches. I have a new coach on my team. She has a 1.5-month-old first baby, has colic, and everyone knows. I think there's a new mom on here, or there was a new mom on here. It is no joke for me. Bringing home my first kid, when they released me from the hospital, I was literally scared. I'm like, I don't know what to do with this baby. She didn't sleep for 9 months.
Researched it enough, could you, Colleen?
Oh, no. I can never be prepared for that.
Sorry.
But she hit Success Club 6 last month as a new mom. And I was like, and that was like she'd only been coaching like a month and a half. So I was like, that means a lot. She had to have worked really hard for that. That doesn't happen by magic. So all that to say, Mona, I noticed too, when I started with my challengers or my coaches, recognizing them, how much it meant to them. So I think just saying like, then I do voice messages in Facebook for my coaches because we message so often. So first I recognized her on the page, and then I just sent her a voice message. I'm like, hey girl, I just want you to know that I recognize that you hit Success Club last month. I know you had to have worked really hard for that, especially with the baby. I'm so proud of you. And I know sometimes that sounds corny to like tell someone you're proud of them, but a lot of people never hear that. They never heard it from their parents. They never hear it from their spouse. And they need to hear those words. I always tell my coaches, I'm so proud of you for working so hard, or I'm so proud of you. And it's little things like that. Like seriously, you guys, before I got involved in this, I never believed any of this stuff worked. Like Miracle Morning, they had all these, affirmations. And I was like, this is crazy. And then I'm like, you know what? Whatever I'm doing in my life is not working. So maybe these people that are writing successful books actually know what they're talking about. So I wrote down these affirmations and I'd say them in the mirror, and I felt ridiculous, but I'm like, you know what? There's a lot more to that stuff than what you think. Or if you I thought I was too cool for all that stuff. I really did. I thought I was too cool for all that stuff, and all those people were losers. But I was the one broke, 15 pounds overweight, and kind of miserable. Like I didn't hate my life. I've always loved my husband and loved my kids, but like I was going nowhere fast. So recognition and encouragement for my coaches has been huge. Also, I tend to be an OCD control freak, and I'm working on that. But another thing I struggled with in the beginning was running my own challenge groups. It was really hard to have 2 challengers and try to run a challenge group. So what I ended up doing was sticking a whole bunch of free people in there and just trying to motivate them, which worked out great, but it was really hard, and it was like going uphill holding weights. So with all my new coaches now, to help them be successful, I have them run a challenge group with me for the first month or 2. And they don't have to. If they want to go out on their own, I'm like, oh, sure, no problem. But I always give them the option. They're usually like, yes, I definitely want to do that. Because one, it really empowers them. Like, then they're like, I'm like, okay. So what I do is I assign each of them. Right now I have 4 apprentice coaches, I call them. They're newer coaches running my challenge group. So they each get assigned one day They have to post in the group before 9:30 a.m. East Coast time because I'm all about consistency and I want our challengers to be able to check in the morning and get their motivation. And then I'm like, whatever they want to post is fine. It can be tips to getting your workout in, tips to nutrition, just a motivational quote. Like, I'm not like totally crazy about it. But first of all, that helps me identify who my strongest coaches are. Like, if someone has a day and they miss a post, I'm like, okay, you had one day a week to come up with a post. Like, that's not dedicated, like, at all. You know what I mean? So I know that person maybe needs some encouragement. I'm not writing them off, but they're definitely not ready to start running their own challenge groups or anything like that. So I'll try to work with them one-on-one. But then the people who are like, come out with a great post that they've researched with like tips to why you should drink water. You know what I mean? That I'm like, wow, this person is a person who needs to go in a push to Emerald group or who needs to go in a push to Diamond group because they're serious about it. So helping them run challenges with me has been huge. We also run all of my free challenges. By the way, I'm a huge believer in free content. I run at least one free challenge every single month, no matter how many success club points I have. If you are scared or don't know where to start, the hydration challenge is seriously like the biggest participation and best way to do it. And the reason why is because water is it's accessible to everyone in the US. Exactly. And it's pretty much free. I mean, most people drink from their, filtered whatever. So, and it makes a huge difference in how you feel just in a couple days. Mm-hmm. So I've gotten tons of challengers. Like the hydration challenge is my favorite challenge to run. I use Hootsuite. I schedule all my posts. So all I have to do is check in once a day or a couple times a day and just encourage people, like their posts, tell them they're doing a good job. I always do a giveaway at the end to keep them motivated, have them add 3 to 5 friends. And everyone wants to add friends to a free challenge and everyone needs to drink more water. So I let them run free challenges with me. And like this month I have them, then I tell them like, okay, I'm still a newer team. So this month I was like, okay, this month is find a success partner and run your own challenge group month. So now I feel like it's like my little chicks are going out on their own. So now they're going out and they're teaming up and running their own challenge groups and running their own free challenges. And I have my next generation of coaches with me that I can help them. So that has helped a lot. The only thing I am working on is I tend to be like, give them a lot. So, and I know I've watched some stuff on and heard some other coaches like, don't baby them, don't let them, don't do everything for them. But my thing is like, they are like me and you. They're super busy and it's really hard in the beginning to do the 3 vital behaviors, work on your own fitness, and start creating content, creating groups, creating all this stuff. So I'm okay if like the first few months, they just need a little bit of help getting off the ground. And I think that's helped them a lot. And then also just creating a culture in our group that's like a family. And that was something, like I said, I had to learn and I struggle with. But so like one thing I did was I started a book club and I just made an event in my team page. And I just assigned a book that month. And I said, if you guys want to check in here like once a week on something you got out of the book, that's great. And everyone loved it. And they didn't check in a ton, but they all will tell me like, oh, I read the book. I love it. So it encourages personal development. And what do you do when you read a good book? You want to tell someone about it. Anytime you read a good book, you're like, oh my gosh, did you hear that part? So then it's like you have someone to talk to about it. And it's like kind of makes you feel like one. So then my goal we just started this week and it was awesome for accountability, the 5 a.m. club. In my last team call, I was like, what do you guys think about doing a 5 a.m. club? I need accountability to get up early. I need to get up early before my kids to get this stuff done or else I'm like playing catch up. And everyone was like, oh, I want to do that. I want to do that. And I'm like, oh crap, now I have to do it. So now every morning, we just started, but you have to get up and log in with the timestamp. And you just take off an Instagram story or Snapchat or whatever you want to use. And like all of us, like you should see my team page, all of our faces are all like swollen from sleep. And I like, seriously, my alarm goes off and I'm just like, I have to get up for this team of mine that I started this and now I have to see them through. And the first day, everyone did it. The second day, like 3 to 5 did it. The third day, but then people are coming back and some of them are like, okay, checking in at 6, it's not 5, but I usually get up at 8, so 6 is really good for me. So I'm like, okay, that's awesome. It just encourages like a team bond. And then everyone's commenting like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad seeing your face this morning. It was so great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we have a team chat that we really get in on, but that is a really great idea to do more like that in the feed of the team page. That's a really, really good idea.
I love it. I seriously
in the team page. So I have one more question, and I probably just have a couple more minutes because.
Yep, no problem. I'm sorry, I talked a lot.
No, Susan's ready to go sleep. I see it happening. She's like ready to. I don't know what you're saying. I'm going to let everybody ask a question. The one question I know that like Jen has and other people is like, how do you do it? I'm talking for you, Jen. I'm sorry, girlfriend. But how do you do it? How do you do it with your 2 and the 1 on the way? Obviously, you're posting your pregnancy journey. You're doing your workouts. I mean, and we have several coaches on our team who are, dues. So, this is a great topic. I mean, you're showing this right now. You're doing about, I don't know how many, 4 weeks or something like that. So 5 weeks. So, I mean, you're like doing it. So how do you do the business?
Okay, that is a great question.
Little synopsis of how you get it done, because I think we all are busy, and you're busy.
Okay, yeah. I think I'm going to try to make this short, so cut me off from going too long.
I don't want to cut you off.
That is a really great question. First of all, like I said, it all goes back to personal development. In the very beginning, I decided that I did not want my family to sacrifice or miss out on my kids over this business. And I know that all of these coaches, moms, struggle with that. Because I don't want to look back and know that I built this business missing my kids. I mean, my kids are 2 and 1.5. They're like the funnest ages. I mean, they drive me absolutely crazy sometimes. But I'm like, no amount of money or even helping people is going to be worth missing them. And that's another reason it took me so long to go diamond. I kept telling Bree, I'm like, I'm afraid if I go diamond, I'm going to take on so many responsibilities that I'm not going to be able to keep up with my family. So, number 1, I will honestly say it is still a struggle to balance that. And I think it always will be. And any successful person will tell you that. Number 2, time management books are everything. Go to Saying Goodbye to Survival Mode. It's a mom. It's like a successful blogger. And she has a lot of little tips on how to save time. And because the thing is, books like Eat That Frog, that's another really good one. Those are really good, but most of these are coming from males who are in the workforce who don't have kids. Like, seriously, I respect that, but they have no idea. They have no idea. And I don't even know if they would even be able to do what we do, okay? So,
I like Brian Tracy, but you're right.
Like, I did get a lot of stuff from that book. I'm not trying to underplay it, but when he's like talking about setting time aside in his quiet cubicle, I'm like, serious? Like, no, that is not going to work, okay? So, Saying Goodbye to Survival Mode is a real-life mom. She homeschools her kids, and she runs a successful blog that I think her husband doesn't even work anymore because of it. So that's a good one. Okay. Another thing is, like, and a lot of that book goes into it, but like prioritizing your time and doing like brain dumps. So I will spend, like, to give you what my day looks like, I try to get up. I'm always up by 5:30. I try to get up at 5, like boots on ground. So I have my coffee, personal development, everything done by 5:30. Then I dig in and I do an hour of my power hour. Okay. Now, if your kids are nightmares and wake up super early, which is my problem too, you just need to start being more strict with them, which will go into parenting, which will go into parenting books, okay? So at first, I would have my kids up in my face at 5:30, and I'm like, I can't do this. So, but I didn't want to be mean, but I wanted, so now they are not allowed out of their room before 7 a.m. And that's not being mean. That's being a real life mom who's trying to get stuff done. And honestly, it's not even good for them or me for them to be in my face all day. Like nobody's happy. So they're in bed no later than 8, usually 7:30 in their room. And they're not allowed to come out before 7. If they wake up, they get milk, diaper changes and stuff, but they're not allowed to come out before 7. So that gives me 2 hours to do what I need to do. Now, in those 2 hours, though, you have to be by nature. So I will say it tends to come to me easier. I'm very task-oriented and schedule-oriented, but a lot of the books I've read have helped. So if you struggle with being a scatterbrain, set timers. Seriously, my husband's like, are you literally going to live your life on a timer? And I'm like, yes. So I'll set 15 minutes, add to network, 15 minutes, invite, 15 minutes, send encouraging messages, and just focus on that. Because if you don't, what's going to happen is you're going to spend your entire hour like adding to your network, and then you didn't do anything else. Or you're going to spend your entire hour trying to figure out who you're supposed to follow up with and not do anything else. So sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I'm on a roll. I'm adding all these people to my network. And I look at my time, I'm like, great, now I can't do anything else because my kids are up and I got to do the kid thing. So I'm very structured in that morning time, okay? Then when the kids get up, I put everything down. I mean, on a good day. Like, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I'm like, you know, if I didn't get up on time, whatever. So put my phone down. We do like morning snuggles. Then we have breakfast. Then we do like a little song dance time because they love doing that. And then we clean the house together. We make the bed together. So another thing is I do a lot of like mom-kid bonding while I'm also cleaning the house, which is hard to do. Like, it's frustrating and it takes you longer, but they love helping. So we'll go and jump on the bed together and then we'll make the bed. So it takes twice as long, but I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone. So then, you know, our room's clean, the bed's made, we had fun. Instead of having like structured craft time that's bonding time, like they help me make dinner, they help me do the dishes, and it's a mess. Like I said, it's hard, but that way I'm getting 2 things done at once. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally makes sense. And that's lifestyle posts for your feed.
Exactly. Or even my workouts. Like, I don't get as good of workouts in when I have to stop. But like you said, Mona, that's my following are all moms trying to figure out how I'm getting fit or staying fit. And the way I'm doing it, the only way I can do it is to do it with my kids. And my videos, when I do them with my kids, I have like triple the views. Because first of all, the kids are just really cute. They're in princess dresses running and spinning around, and I speed them up, so it's really funny. But also, moms are like, okay, if she's doing it, I can do it. And I tell my challengers, like, a lot of times they're like, I don't know how you're so patient. I'm like, honestly, I'm not patient. But the way I look at it is, it's better for me to do my 30-minute workout and get interrupted 5 times doing it with my kids than say, oh, I'm not going to do it at all until they go to bed, and then either miss it or be up late, like doing a workout, or up super early. Like, to me, it just makes sense to incorporate them. And I know long-term it's going to help them and me. But like I said, it is very wearing on your patience. I hope that helped. Then, like, after we have like a morning quiet time then, and all this goes to be more of a strict mom, which you and your kids will both be happier. Anytime we get off our routine, or if I'm like, I'm going to kill these kids, it's because I'm not being structured. Nice. So then we have a morning quiet time. My little one goes down for a nap, and then Sharni gets on the couch with music and a book. And she has to sit there and read her book. She's right next to me. She can talk to me, but then I go back to work because I don't feel bad her seeing me work. Like, I'm doing this for our family, and I want her to know that, but I don't want to have my phone in my face all day. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. And so that's how I kind of structure it throughout the day. I have like an hour on, 2 or 3 hours off, and vice versa.
Oh, I love that. And I love how you incorporate your day. And I'm sure you could talk about how you get 3 or 4 posts a day up, you know, and all that. But that's just management. I mean, and I'm guessing you will post them up with your kids there. You'll just post it. It's 3 o'clock, whatever. You'll make a post, and then that's it.
Usually, like, if it's a good post that I've premeditated, I will schedule it in my like page, and then post it. But typically I don't feel bad about posting. Once you are used to posting, you guys know how it is. It kind of comes naturally. Yeah. And I always have a structure, like an idea for that day. Like, okay, today I'll post about this, and that. So an Instagram story has been great because that kind of gets a lot of behind the scenes stuff that used to take a lot more time.
I need to use more stories for sure.
Yeah, stories are awesome.
I want to make sure that we do kind of have to wrap up because it's 9:30 and Susan popped off and so did a couple other people and I want to get a picture before we leave. But
sorry, chatty.
I love that you weren't like that. You had questions in the beginning, and I love that even though you had a lull there in your business where you like you said you missed Success Club or whatever, even though you hit like 30 and Success Club 40. Okay, there went Jen. You didn't quit. You didn't give in. A lot of people would take that as a sign. This isn't for me. You know what I mean? And you didn't. You kept going and you researched, you figured it out, and you got the belief behind it. So I just think that that's amazing. And I love that about you. And it shines through. So I think a lot of people will take from this that, especially your background, and how you love to know things, how you love to research. I think people will take this and be like, okay, I need to take more responsibility for my business on me. If I'm struggling, it's something I'm doing. And I'm talking about me, I'm doing, Mona's doing. And so I love it. I think you really
awesome.
Called us to the floor here. You really told me I need to get back into this even. So I don't know who's on. We have a couple people on. So Elizabeth, do you have any questions, any thoughts before about anything? All right, hon. Well, thank you so much. You rocked it, and it's a good call when we can talk for an hour. A lot of team calls I watch are an hour, and I think this was great content. You rocked it, girlfriend.
Thank you so much for having me. I am sorry if I was a bit chatty.
No. I can't wait to see you go 1 star with your new coach.
I'm excited.
And you're going to really, really, really do it. So Jen says, thanks for having her on. It was great. She had to go. I think she had to change.
No problem. I understand all of that.
She took a pic of us, I think, during the call. So I'm like, that's good. All right, so let's take a quick screenshot, and I'll add everybody's pictures in. What, buddy? You want to be in it? Okay. This guy's still up. This is crazy. Oh my gosh, sit back, Silas. You can't be in the picture like that. I mean you can be, but not like that, please. Oh my gosh. Okay, sit beside me because I gotta do the control buttons. Okay, 1, 2, say 3. Oh, you missed I'm sorry, your tongue was in. Ow! Oh my gosh. All right. You look great. I love you guys.
Thank you so much for having me. Everyone have a good rest of your night.
Have a great May, guys. Okay. Bye, Colleen.
Bye.
Bye. Stop it. You're so